Hey guys, Satish here. Welcome to chapter 4. Today let's talk about few more components. Let's have a look at LEDs. LEDs are light emitting diodes. You might have seen LEDs in a lot of different applications ranging from indicators to bulbs to tube lights. LEDs are basically diodes which emit light when there is a current passing through them. With this LEDs, you will be designing your first circuit today. Let's look at the specifications before we get into designing a driver for LED. Specifications are one, what is the color? Intensity is the brightness of the LED, and there is a viewing angle and the package. Let's get into the data sheet of one of these LEDs before we design our first circuit with LEDs. This is a data sheet which I have downloaded from Mouser. Let's have a look at the data sheet. So I've selected a 5 mm through hole LED. So let's get into the data sheet. One is the color. So this is a let's assume we have selected a red color LED. Then this what is the intensity? This is the unit of intensity is candela. This is in millicandela. This is around 10 millicandela. Basically this is used for indications where it has to be bit bright. Then there is a forward milliamps. Milliamps is the rating of the LED. So if you pass 10 milliamps to the LED, it will give 10 millicandela. Like diode, this will have a forward voltage drop. So whenever there is current flowing through the LED, there will be a 2 volt voltage drop across the LED. Like how our silicon diode will have around 0.7 volt drop, this will have a 2 volt drop. If you go through any data sheet, there will be two sets of reading. One is the absolute maximum rating, which means that if you exceed any of this value, the LED is going to be damaged. The second is what is the rated value, that generally follows below this. So let's look at the absolute maximum rating. So this is rated at the forward current is rated at 30 milliamps. So if you pass a current which is greater than 30 milliamps, this LED is going to fail. The rated current is 10 milliamps. This is what you have to pass to get this light intensity. If you pass less than this, you will get lower intensity. If you pass higher than it does not mean you have to get a higher intensity. It might just get damaged. So as soon as you exceed 30 milliamps, that is the absolute maximum rating, the LED is going to fail. There are some more parameter like reverse voltage. If you give 6 volts in the opposite direction, that means you reverse bias the LED is going to damage. Let's assume that we have selected this LED which is red in color and we have to pass 10 milliamps, that is the rated current. And when we pass 10 milliamps through it, there is a forward voltage drop of 2 volts. Okay, now with these inputs, let's design our first circuit. Now let's get back to the slide. Now this is a circuit which we are going to use to drive the LED. Again, we as per the LED data sheet, it should not exceed 10 milliamps. So from now we have to limit the current to 10 milliamps. From our resistors chapters, we have learned that you can use a resistor to reduce the current. Now let's design a circuit where we have to calculate the value of R. So what should be the value of R so that the current does not exceed 10 millivolts? Let's assume that our supply is at 5 volts. Okay, now we have to limit the current to 10 milliamps, and from the data sheet we know that the forward voltage drop is 2 volts. Now let's apply KVL. You might have studied about this. What this basically tells that the voltage, sum of voltages in a loop will be 0 volts. What that means is this supply voltage, that is 5 volts, will be dropped in this resistor and this diode. So now let's write this 5 volts should be equal to the current flowing through, that is I into R, that is the voltage drop across the resistor, plus the voltage drop in the diode, that is 2 volts. So R will be equal to 5 minus 2 divided by, for I is 10 milliamps. So if you calculate, R will be equal to, that is 5 minus 2 divided by 10 milliamps is 0.01, that is 300 ohm. So if you put a 300 ohm resistance, the current will be limited to 10 milliamps. We will need a 300 ohm resistance. So while selecting the resistors, I told you that apart from resistance, we will also have to specify what is the wattage. So let's calculate what should be the wattage. So for the wattage, the power dissipated in this resistor is I square R. I is 10 milliamps and R is 300 ohm. So I square is 0.01 into 0.01 into 300. So you will at least need 0.03 watt. So anything less than this, the resistor is not going to happen. So you have to select a wattage which is more than this. If you are going to use a through hole resistor, you are generally going to select a quarter watt resistor. So select any resistor that has a wattage greater than 0.03 watt. Let me quickly show you how you can use a diode in Proteus. Okay, let me put a voltage source. I'll use the same 5 volt DC voltage source. Then we'll use a resistor. This has a animated LED. What it means is the LED, you can see it glow in the software. For that you have to select a generic LED. You can select aqua or green or any color which you want. Let me select aqua. Let me rig up everything. Let me place a ground. Then let me put 300 ohm which we designed. But in the simulation, it will take an ideal LED. So there is not going to be any voltage drop across this. Anyway, let me simulate this. You can see the LED turn on. Stop the simulation, turn off, turn on. So this is the first circuit that we have designed. So we have designed the value of R from all the things which we have learned in the previous chapter. We need a 300 ohm resistance. The next component we'll be going through is a transistor. So the transistor can operate as an amplifier or as a switch. So we are not going to get into amplifiers because nowadays nobody uses transistors for amplification. They use op amps, or there are directly available amplifier ICs for audio and different kinds of things. So we will limit our scope to transistor as a switch. So let's first understand a switch. So we had discussed it in chapter 1. Switch is a device that can make or break a path of a circuit. So let me quickly draw it. Let's assume we have a 12 volt supply and we have a bulb. So switch, we will connect it like this. So in our houses, what we have seen are mechanical switches. You go, put it on, it will make the circuit and the bulb will start to glow. You go and turn it off, the circuit will be broken and the light will turn off. So this is a mechanical switch. So you have to apply some mechanical force to make or break the circuit. So transistor is a switch where you can turn it on or turn it off by giving a small electrical signal. A transistor can operate in three modes. One, it is off. Basically, it is like a open switch. It is on. It is a closed switch. And as an amplifier. So we are not going to get into it. When we are here, we are going to use transistor as a switch. Either it is a closed circuit or a open circuit. There are two types of transistors. One is an NPN transistor and a PNP transistor. So first let's understand why we need a transistor. Let's assume you have a 12-volt bulb which you see in your vehicles, those kind of bulbs, or any motor, that small motors, DC motors that you see. So let's assume this needs 1 amps of current at 12 volts. So what it means is, if you connect this bulb to a 12-volt supply, it will draw 1 amps of current. So now you have to turn it on and off. If you want to turn it on mechanically, you can use one of these mechanical switches. Let's assume that you are getting a small signal from a microcontroller or a small IC. Using that signal, you will have to turn on the bulb or motor or turn off the bulb or motor. So now, if the source of the signal can give 1 amps, then what you can do is you can directly connect it. If this is the source, you can directly connect this and it will work. But when it is coming from a microcontroller or any ICs, that pin cannot source 1 amps. So it can source some milliamps. So like most of the microcontrollers can source around 25 milliamps. There are few ICs that can source 100 milliamps. So now using this signal, how can you turn on a 1 ohm or a 1 amps or a 10 amps load? So this is when you will need a transistor. Okay, we will need a transistor when you have to turn on a higher load which is drawing more current, but the signal is coming from a microcontroller or IC where it cannot source this 1 amps. It can only source some 25 milliamps or 100 milliamps. So in that case, we will use a transistor to turn on or off the load. Now let's see how transistor can be used as a switch. There are two types of transistors. One is an NPN transistor and a PNP transistor. Now let's consider a case where we have a DC source. Again, why am I considering a DC source? Because transistors will work only with a DC source. So now let's consider that we have a DC source here and a load here. There are two places where you can connect a switch. One is on the positive line, the other on the negative line. So when you have to switch the positive line, then you will have to use a PNP transistor. If you have to switch a negative line, that is here, you will have to use a NPN transistor. First, let's see how we can identify a transistor and its terminals and how it can be used in a given circuit to switch the positive or the negative line. The terminal with the arrow will always be the emitter. In case here this is the emitter and in case this is the emitter. If the arrow of the emitter is in the outward direction, it is a NPN transistor. If the arrow on the emitter is in the inward direction, it will be a PNP transistor. Now let's see how we can use a transistor to perform a switching action in our circuit. Now let's consider this case where we are switching the negative line. So for switching the negative line, we are going to use a NPN transistor. This is how it is connected. So the emitter is always connected to the supply. In this case, the emitter has a polarity of N. So the emitter is connected to the negative of the battery, and the collector is always connected to the load. The collector is connected to the load and the other end of the load is connected to the positive of the source. So when we have to switch a positive supply, we are going to use a PNP transistor. Here as we mentioned, emitter is connected to the power supply. The polarity of the emitter terminal is P. So we are going to connect the emitter to the positive, and the load is connected to the collector. The load is connected to the collector. The other end of the load is connected to the negative of the supply. Now let's understand how this circuit works. So this transistor will either should work as a open switch or a closed switch. It depends upon the supply that is given to the base of the transistor. Now let's assume that our supply voltage is 12 volts and this is at 0 volts. Now let's assume that the base supply is going to come from a microcontroller or a digital circuit which is a 3.3 or 5 volts. Let's assume 5 volts. Now let's see, we have given 5 volts here. I have used a resistor here to limit the base current below specified values, or else what will happen is, if the base current is above a value specified by the manufacturer, the transistor is going to fail. Again, we will design a value of R in this tutorial. Now let's assume I have given 5 volts here. So what happens? The base emitter junction gets forward bias, so this transistor will work as a closed switch. So the circuit is complete and the current flows through the load. If we give 0 volts, what happens is, this base emitter junction is not forward bias, so this will act as a open switch. So now the circuit is broken. So giving 5 volts turns on the switch, giving 0 volts turns off the switch. It is not 5 volt, anything greater than the base emitter breakdown voltage. Generally for a silicon it is around 0.7. So if you give a voltage that is higher than 0.7 volts, this base emitter junction will forward bias and the transistor will turn on. For most of our embedded application, we will generally use a NPN transistor because it's easier to switch an NPN transistor when compared to a PNP transistor when the signal is coming from a microcontroller or a digital circuit that works at 3.3 or 5 volts. So I'll explain it to you why it's easier. Before that, let's see how the PNP transistor works. Again, let's assume this supply voltage to be 12 volts. And let's assume the base voltage what we are giving is 12 volts. So now when I give 12 volts here, the emitter base junction does not get forward bias because the emitter is also at 12 volts and the base is also at 12 volts. So the transistor will work as a open switch. So as soon as I give a voltage that is 0 volts or anything less than 12 minus 0.7, that is the breakdown voltage, this transistor will turn on. If you give 12 volts, the PNP transistor will turn off. If you give 0 volts, the PNP transistor will turn on. I told you that in most of the embedded system application, we generally use a NPN transistor and not a PNP transistor. Let me show why it is. So generally, as I mentioned, in embedded system, this base signal is going to come from a transistor or a digital IC. So the voltage will be 0 or 3.3 or 5 volts. So let's say take the case of 0 volt. So when the base voltage is 0, what happens is the emitter is at 12 volts from the supply. This emitter base junction gets forward bias and the transistor will turn on. Now let's see what happens when I give 5 volts. If I give 5 volts, the base emitter junction is still forward biased. So the transistor is still on. It is not turned off. So that is the issue here. If I give 5 volts also, the transistor is on. If I give 0 volts also, the transistor is on. So you have to give a 12 volts. So you have to give 12 volts to turn off the transistor. So most of the microcontrollers and digital ICs give a 0 or 5 volts output. So in this case, we cannot directly use a PNP transistor. What we have to use is a NPN transistor to shift a level from 5 to 12, and from here if you connect it to this one, we will be able to turn on and off a PNP transistor. So in case where you have to switch the positive line, then you have to first use an NPN transistor to shift the level from 5 volts to 12 volts, and using this 12 volts or 0 volt supply, you have to drive the base of a PNP transistor to perform the switching operation. Now let's see how this works. So we are going to connect this to this point. Now let's see how this level shifter will work. So I'm going to use a NPN transistor to shift the level from 5 volts to 12 volts to turn on and off a PNP transistor. Now let's assume I have given 0 volts here. So if I give 0 volts here, this junction does not get forward bias, so this transistor is off. It's an open switch. So when this transistor is off, the voltage at this point is 12 volts. So this 12 volts will come here. So if the supply is 12 volts, the emitter base junction does not get forward bias. So this transistor will be off. Okay, now there is something very tricky which you have to understand here, and it's a very common mistake which a lot of beginners do. As I have mentioned you in one of the earlier chapters, for a current to flow, there has to be a closed path. For example, if there is a charge leaving here, it has to come back here. So in this case, there cannot be exchange of charge from this circuit to this circuit because there is no closed path. So the current from here is not going to come to this circuit, or any current from this is not going to go to this circuit. So we have to make the negative common here. Basically, if you have to connect two circuits which are on a different power supply, here this is a different power supply and this is different power supply. They are isolated, they don't have anything in common. Then you have to make a common ground. Okay, without making common ground between two circuits, you cannot transmit any current from this circuit to this circuit or from this to this. Okay, now let's see what happens. I've given 0 volts here, there's a 12 volt here. So there is 12 volts here and this is 12 volts. So this emitter base junction is not forward bias because both are of them at 12 volts. Now let's see what happens when I give 5 volts here. When I give 5 volts here, this transistor will work as a closed switch. So this voltage will become 0 volt. There is 12 volts here. So when this transistor turns on, this 0 volt will come here. So the emitter base junction is forward bias. So the current will start like this, go like this, go through this transistor and come back. So this is the current path. So when you give 5 volts, this PNP transistor turned on. When you give 0 volts, this PNP transistor turns off. So this is how you will have to use an NPN transistor as a level shifter to control a PNP transistor. If your base voltage switching is from 0 to 12 volts, then you don't have to use this. You can directly use this. But if your base voltage which you are going to get is 0 or 5 volts, then you will have to use a level shifter. Now let's design a transistor circuit where we want to turn on a 12 volt 1 amps load from a 5 volt signal. Let's assume that a 5 volt signal is coming from a microcontroller and our load is a bulb or a fan. So we have a 12 volt supply, that is 12 volt, and we have a bulb. Let's assume it's a bulb which has a current rating of 1 amps. So now I can switch a positive line or a negative line. So I will switch to the negative line because, as I told you, it's easier to switch a negative line using a NPN transistor where the maximum base voltage is 5 volts. So I will use again NPN So the emitter, which is negative, will go to the supply and the collector will go to the load and the other end of the load to the transistor, to the supply. Now I'll use a resistor, and this will be a 5 or 0 volt. So if I give 5 volts, the transistor will turn on and the bulb will turn on. If I give 0 volts here, the transistor will turn off, the bulb will stop glowing. Let's go to Mouser and select a transistor. Bipolar, I'll use a through hole. So we have to select a transistor that can drive, that can handle 1 amps of current. For a 1 amp, if you want to drive 1 amps of current, you have to select a transistor that is at least 1.5 or 2 amps, or else what will happen is this transistor heats up a lot. We'll select a NPN transistor and collector current greater than 1 amps. So I generally sort it based on the price, so you can get the lowest cost one. Then you will have to go through your local shop and find out if these transistors are available. Not all these, since as we are going to simulate this circuit on Proteus, all these transistors might not be available. So I'll select one which you guys are familiar with, and the model is available in the Proteus. Let me open up the data sheet. So this transistor, the maximum current is 0.8 amps. So we, as per our design, we were looking to design a circuit with 1 amp. So we cannot use this transistor, but I'm going to go ahead with this. Now there is the gain he specifies is 100 for so basically what it means is, if you pass 1 milliamps of current in the base, your collector current will be 100 milliamps. You will get a gain of 100. So let's see if this is suitable. What are the absolute maximum rating? So our supply voltage is 12 volts. So this supports around 40 to 50 volts. So this, we are safe with respect to the voltage. This maximum current is 0.8. We cannot drive 1 amps in it, but I'm going to go, as I told you, this model is available in the Proteus, so I can simulate this. Now if you go here, he would have specified the base current which is required for 500 during saturation, or else you can calculate from this also. That is for 500 milliamps the gain is 30. So you can calculate what is the base current. We will limit the base current to 50 milliamps to drive a 500 milliamp circuit again. So they have written some, if they write something in the bracket like this as 1, you have to go down and see what that means. So basically all these ratings are when he has given a pulse. The period is 300 microseconds with a duty cycle of 2%. So now let's start our design. So I am going to limit my base current to 50 milliamps. We should also see what is the base emitter voltage. We have studied that for a silicon diode, silicon transistor or a junction, it is 0.6 or 0.7. But if you see his condition for a current of 500 milliamps and a base current of 50 milliamps, you can expect the maximum base emitter voltage will be 2. So we have to design keeping in mind that the voltage can go up to 2 volts, the breakdown voltage. If you design for 0.6, what will happen is the current will be too less and we might not be able to drive this current. Okay, now let's get back to our design sheet. Okay, now I'm going to change this to 0.5 amps. Okay, now from the data I'm going to apply 5 volts here from my microcontroller. Then from the data sheet we know that This voltage is going to be 2 volts. So I have to limit my current to 50 milliamps. So I'm going to apply KVL. So my R will be, that is 5 minus 2 divided by 50 milli. Let me pull up the calculator. So 5 minus 2 is 3 divided by 50 milli is 0.05. That is 60 ohm. So I have to use a 60 ohm resistor. 60 ohm resistor. So now I have to see what is the wattage of the resistor I have to use. So wattage is I square R. That will be into 0.05. 0.15 watt. So I have to use a resistor that has a wattage more than 0.15 watt. Now let's go to Proteus project. Let me connect. I'll use a source DC. 12 volts. Then let me use another component. Okay. Transistor. Let's use a 60 ohm resistor. And use a pulse just to see it turn on and off. I'll use a pulse high to 5, start second is 0, rise time, fall time. Frequency, let me make it 0.5 so that it will be 1 second on, 1 second off, 50% duty cycle. Let me see if we can find a bulb here. There's a lamp here. Let's see if this works. All these supplies are with respect to ground. Terminal, ground. Let's see what happens. See, this is turning on, turning off. Let's check out with the current probe and see what happens. So we can, if you see, maybe I'll be able to pause when it turns on. With just 30 milliamps of base current, I am able to drive a current of 0.2 amps. So this is what a transistor with a very low signal, that is with just 30 milliamps I am able to turn and off a load which is drawing 0.3 amps. So you can use a higher rating transistor and get a better gain. Okay, so this is how we're going to use transistor as a switch. So you can, as an assignment, you can try to switch a PNP transistor for using an NPN as a level shifter. So we have designed our first circuit with a transistor. Now, if it is a resistive load, you don't have to put any freewheeling diode. Let's assume it's a relay that which is an inductive load. Then we'll have to use a freewheeling diode connected like this. Or else what happens is, when the transistor is on, this current is flowing in this direction. So when the transistor turns off, this path is broken. So we have seen in the chapter of inductor does not allow a fast change of current. So what the inductor will do is, it will generate an voltage in this polarity so that this 1 amps continues to flow. Magnitude of the voltage will be very high because this is an open circuit. So it will generate theoretically infinite, but practically it will generate a voltage which is very high in hundreds of volts. So what happens is, we have seen from the rating of this transistor that the maximum voltage is around 50 volts. So anything more than 50 voltage across this, what will happen is, this transistor will get damaged. By using a freewheeling diode, you will give a path for this energy stored in the inductor to discharge. So if there is a diode, there will be no voltage here, because this will be freewheeling like this. So for an inductive load, you will always have to use a diode. That is, for relays, for motors, you will have to use a diode. So that's it with the transistors.